What red flags do you think that men overlook when it comes to attractive women?
A lot. Women go through all kind of things that men will never understand. Whenever a girl reciprocates with you, when she collaborates with you, that immediately pushes you into the special zone if she could be the one.
I think people don't realize that women...
Welcome back to another episode of First Rounds and Me, a First Rounds and Media production. Today we are joined by the one and only Wolf Taylor. He's host of Halfway Up podcast and has a way of cutting through the dating noise with honesty and humour, offering perspectives that make you pause and rethink what you thought you knew about modern connections. So of course we're putting him to the test with some of the most interesting, thought-provoking and maybe a little controversial dating topics. And yes, there will be games, there will be rapid-fire questions and some truly wild dating scenarios. Wolf,
That was
welcome
good.
to the show. Did you like it?
That was really good, yeah.
See?
No, but that honestly, that was one of your best.
That was a good. That was definitely one of your best.
Yeah.
And you know,
I would know.
you've seen.
You know what I mean? I
You've
collaborate
seen.
with y'all behind the scenes a lot. So
Was it Wolf though that made you feel calm and relaxed?
Honestly?
It's like you feel...
I feel like
natural.
I'm at home. I feel like
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the best way possible. I don't have to put on like some kind of performance.
Nah,
I'm just
yeah,
like
for
meeting
sure,
somebody.
yeah.
I feel very like calm and in my body and in my mind.
You should study that clip because that was...
Study that. It's the
felt
podcast
real.
family vibe.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
it,
power
babe.
of comfortability.
All right, I'm going to start this off with a couple of rapid dating fire questions because I feel like it's a nice way to break the ice, right? And this one I actually pulled from your Instagram, which I just thought was such an interesting question.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
what red flags do you think that men overlook when it comes to attractive women?
A lot. A lot. What red flags do men overlook? Damn, there's so many. Where do you
What's the
even...
first thing that comes to your mind?
Yeah, red flags that men overlook when it comes to attractive women. I think a lot of the time when it comes to attractive women, men think they compartmentalize the value you get from a woman, right? It's like she's beautiful, she's attractive, she's sexy. They take that as the trophy in itself, right? It's like, oh, she's hot, looks good for me, strokes my ego, and then completely forget about all the other necessary details that are like needed to make a compatible partner. And so red flag is sometimes because she's so beautiful, maybe you just overlook the fact that she's already showing you she has a lack of patience. She's already showing you that she has a lack or a low level of emotional intelligence. She doesn't like not getting her way. Maybe she's not thoughtful. Maybe she takes the things that you do for granted. You know, I do believe it is a man's job to be assertive and show first that he's interested in her, but at the same time, like, it's nice when a woman can show ways where she appreciates that. You know what I mean? So I think it needs to be a collaboration. I think at every step of the process, even if he's paying for everything, she can still do little things to, like, maybe if he's picking up the tab, she can pick up the tip just to show like, hey, I'm in this with you.
Heck yeah. Oh my God,
You know
that was
what I'm
such an
saying?
astute answer, truly
Yeah.
and utterly.
That's what I think.
That kind of leads me, actually, like, I have all these rapid fire dating questions, but you kind of set it up for me absolutely perfectly.
Okay.
For this section about reciprocal love, right?
Okay, yeah.
And this really goes off of something that you actually spoke about very recently on Instagram, and I saw it and I was like, we have to talk about that. So you spoke about it in the context of Valentine's Day, and you posed the question, Valentine's Day is notoriously for the ladies, but does it make a woman selfish if she expects a gift and doesn't intend on giving one?
Yes.
That in of itself is such an interesting question to pose, but I think it really opens the door to this larger set of questions that is like reciprocal love and where we draw the line between reciprocal love and transactional love. And I think it's very interesting now that we have two men on the couch to be able to like really ping off of,
let's tag team
because
this.
yeah, see, there you go. Just male perspectives I think is just so interesting, particularly in this realm. So I want to kind of touch on the Valentine, even though it's kind of gone, I want to touch on it a little bit. Valentine's Day is often about men showing up, but should women be putting in equal effort when it comes to like a special day like that? And it could be Valentine's Day, it could be an anniversary,
Absolutely.
what have you.
Absolutely. And I think a man who says otherwise, his self-esteem needs to be questioned. You know what I mean? Like, how he feels about himself needs to be looked at a second time. If you think that this holiday is only about what you can do for her, not about what she can do for you, as if what she wants and what she needs is in a higher priority than yours. But I think, and I'm sure we can relate to this as men sometimes, especially depending on how hot the girl is, or depending on how far out of your league you think she is, you just like you become a servant immediately. You know, it's always about like, what can I do to continue to prove to her this endless cachet of like, I'm worthy of you, I'm worthy of you, I'm worthy of you. And I think sometimes when you're unequally yoked during Valentine's Day, that's what it is. It's just this game of like worship. But I think it should go both ways, though. I mean, if you're working towards something that's going to be something that's going to stand the test of time, you're building a strong foundation that's going to weather all the storms, right? Your girl should be just as serious about proving to you that she wants to celebrate your love and your life as much as you are.
I couldn't agree more, but what do you say to the people that say that women deserve extra consideration on days like Valentine's Day because of the societal inequality? Or that, do you think that just kind of reinforces outdated stereotypes?
I mean, listen, I'm not mad at that. We could entertain that too.
Yeah.
You know, women go through all kind of things that men will never understand. It's beyond conversation. Some things are just like, you'll never know what this is like because you're not a woman. You can't walk through these experiences. So I'm definitely open to that conversation. I'm just more of an advocate for, I don't want it to be one-sided though. I think that if you are being an honorable man and you're showing up and you're being consistent, you're being loving, you're being emotionally intelligent, you're leading with your wallet, leading with your actions, all the good things, I think it would be very wise of a woman to let that man know, like, hey, I appreciate you.
Demonstrate it.
Especially because the majority of the time it's like we are incentivized to make the first step and lead and take the bigger risk, which I think you should. We can get into that more too. I think you should. So, yeah.
Well, I think it goes back to the whole like replace, particularly for women, like replace your expectation with appreciation. Like really appreciate the fact that this man is showing up and doing all these types of things, and that kind of leads into that reciprocal type of love. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
No, I totally agree with Wolf's stance on reciprocal. I think when something's reciprocal, it feels right.
Mm-hmm.
There's been so many times before I met Hannah where I'd be dating somebody and I would be the one that was like clamoring to talk to her, and I was like so excited to like show her, I'm gonna do all this stuff for you. And when she didn't reciprocate, I was like, man, I feel like shit. But it made me think that that's somebody who I wanted because they were out of my league. And it was just strictly on reciprocation, because when I met Hannah, physically, she was, you know, all that more beautiful than any woman I've ever spoken to. But she reciprocated. So I thought when she reciprocated, I was like, oh, am I settling? Because I just thought like it feels
interesting though.
I just thought it felt like not easy, but I was like, why does it feel right? And the
why
fact that
is she
it feels
giving
right,
so much back?
It's making me think that
that's fucked up.
Because you know, well, if you know when like that's you like the challenge.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I always liked, man, I really want to talk to this person, and all I'm doing is try to prove to them that they should talk to me.
That's what you're used to.
That's what you're used to.
That's the position
but I think there's a stage when you get really secure with who you are. And when you hit that stage, you don't care about that. And when you get the reciprocation from a woman, again, and it feels right, it's like, I know who I am and what I want. And because she's meeting me halfway, I'm not settling. And I think that security, it takes you a second to realize that, but I think that's when you know this could be something.
I was just about to say that whenever a girl reciprocates with you, when she collaborates with you, that immediately pushes you into the special zone if she could be the one.
Oh yeah.
Immediately. Because that sets you apart as a woman. The minute you start to like, hey, let me put something in the middle of the table with you too. Then it's like, oh shit, because girls don't do that shit. They're too busy like playing the game, and we're all conditioned. Even like what you said, like I could relate to it as a man, like we're conditioned to feel less valuable.
Yeah.
It's all about like doing a perfect backflip so she could put up a perfect 10, you know what I mean? And then maybe she can pick me, and to a degree, some of that is necessary, you gotta prove. But at the same time, it's like, hold on. Honestly speaking, I'm just as valuable as you are. We give value in different ways.
100%. And I think people don't realize that women who look different, right? Obviously, there's some very attractive women.
Absolutely.
That doesn't mean that they all are selfish, or that they all expect something.
True.
No matter what you look like, every scope of women are the same. It's just what's inside. So me meeting somebody like Hannah, I thought, again, she's a model, she's beautiful, but why is she nice? Why is she kind? Why is she treating me with respect? And it has nothing to do with how they look. And I think there's this cliche that the hotter a girl is, the more she has the right to be a bitch. You know, selfish or a bitch.
I think it does have something to do with her looks, though. I think with great power comes great responsibility. I think the power of moving through the earth, knowing that you can easily influence people, you can easily fall asleep behind the wheel, and You can become drunk with that easily.
Oh yeah.
As a man, I'm aware of my power. I'm aware of the minute I realized that like I was handsome and I realized how women felt about me. There was definitely a period in time where I was like having my feel, but what can I really do with that? You know what I mean? And what does that really mean? And then you're talking to 3-4 girls at a time.
What can you get away with?
And then you realize like, oh, all my homies can't talk to 3-4 girls at a time. It's like, oh, it's a difference. You know what I mean? So, but that's acknowledgement of power. So I do think a lot of, since we're just talking about women, but it's the same with guys though. Just make, you know what I mean, no separation, but like sometimes women get drunk with the power and they're just having too much fun with it. And nobody telling me to stop because society won't, first and foremost. Society like incentivizes like, go crazy, bring them to the bar because it brings money. You know what I mean? Like get them to spend money. You know what I mean? Like it could get really deep. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember this saying, and I think it's pretty popular, where a guy will only change for the right woman. So he can meet 99 of the wrong women and he's going to be himself. He's going to be selfish. He's going to be like a fuck boy. He's like, I'm doing my thing. But when the right woman comes along, it's like, fuck, I'm going to change. And I think the same thing happens to women. Women have this power, right? And when the right guy comes along, they're like, damn, I'm going to change and I'm going to be reciprocal.
Yes and no, but I also disagree with that in a sense of like, what you said before was really interesting, right? That there is this pretty privilege and that scopes across men and women. And it is your responsibility, if you are born genetically made up in a way that other people find attractive, you can use that for good or evil, right? You have that power, you have that responsibility. Like, without really trying not to sound conceited in any way, shape, or form, but I'll say from my perspective, just because what you were thinking, what you were talking about earlier, right? Just because I was a model and I'm genetically made up in a way and people are like, wow, you're attractive, doesn't mean that I have a right to act any less compassionately, any less astutely, any less like kind, any of those things than anybody else in this world. Almost in a way, it's just like a cherry on top that I look this way. It's more so like I want people to value what I am on the inside. And so when we got together, I think you really saw that like your perception of like a model or like what a beautiful person was vastly different than how I actually operated, and you were confused.
100%.
And you didn't really know what to do with that. But I think that goes back to like, people shouldn't change because they meet the one, right? Then they shouldn't all of a sudden be good. A woman shouldn't change because she all of a sudden meets the right dude and now she acts proper. It's your responsibility as you walk through this earth to always act that way.
Yes, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty privilege is, it's funny.
It's real.
People always talk about bias, right? Like, oh, you're white, you're black, there's bias and there's privilege. But the main privilege is if you're good looking. If you're good looking, you get away with a lot.
A lot.
And I think that's actually fact. I think pretty privilege and height, I think, is the second one. It's like if you're tall, you get away with a lot too.
Yeah, it's just about not abusing. Some people abuse power, bro. Like my uncle was like this extremely handsome. Let me tell you this crazy story about my uncle. Power, right? My mom really wanted to get this job one day. Job was paying $50 an hour. She needed this job. And she was like, I really want to get this job. It'll really help with the kids, you know? And then I've somehow, some way, right, it's a long time ago, right, like the telephone game, but like my mom was telling my uncle, like, I hope this girl really likes me. And he was like, what's this girl's name? It's like, where does she be at? He's like, I'm gonna get you that job. He goes, introduces himself to the girl, has sex with the girl, my mom gets the job. But that came from his power of being like, I know I'm extremely desirable to women, right? And so it's all about what are you willing to do with your power. But then also my uncle, Papa was a Rolling Stone, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and so that's a moment where abusing the power goes wrong. You know what I mean?
But then it's also that's such an interesting, not contradiction, like a dichotomy, because he's doing it for good.
This whole conversation is...
No, for sure.
But then it's also...
very convoluted.
There's just so many different sides to it. And again, it's just like nothing is linear, nothing is black and white. Like there are so many different ways to be able to interpret it. And I think it also just depends on like your perspective in life and like where you walk with it.
Yeah, and who's to say who's pretty?
That's true. That also is subjective.
Right? I mean, there's obviously...
Society has, you know what I mean?
But I think a lot of people think that they're prettier than they are. And then they act like they are the bitchy pretty version.
Okay, that's true too.
Yeah, because like you'll see it. It's like somebody comes off and it's like they're which they should, right? They're walking around like their shit don't stink, but it's like
you ain't all that.
You're not. Yeah,
you ain't all that.
Just like
but who are you as a person to not walk around like that, thinking you're the best?
I mean, confidence and arrogance, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a thin line, but they are two different things, though.
Yeah.
When it comes to relationships, do you think that relationships should be 50-50, or do you think it's an unrealistic standard?
Damn, I think it depends on the context of what 50-50 is in.
Like, I think 50-50, I would say generalization across the board.
I think maybe 50-50 is not going to work for everybody or in every situation. I do think that it's important to let your partner know that you're willing to do anything for them and that you're going to ride for them. I think more importantly than anything, like, y'all can figure out the specifics later, but when a woman, I'm a man, so I can only speak from my perspective, but when a woman is making it very clear to you, like, hey, I want what you want, I'm interested in what works the best for both of us, that's a very beautiful thing. And that'll always feel better than any woman who's trying to give off the impression like she's not going to do that for whatever reason. You know what I mean? So 50-50, maybe, I don't know. But if you make me feel like you're a part of my team and we represent the same tribe, we rocking the same jersey, that's a beautiful thing. And you're going to have my complete attention because of that.
My mother said something really beautiful to me ages and ages ago when I was like with a shithead of an ex-boyfriend. And she basically said, a relationship should equal out to 50-50 across the board, in the sense that what you said, you both have the same level of energy and effort into the relationship of riding for each other and ensuring the fact that you're both fulfilling your dreams and you're safe and you're happy and all these kind of things. But the reality, and I think Joe and I can very much attest to this being married, is that it's never 50-50. There's always an 80-20 or 70-30 or a 60-40 split in different silos of your life. It's just about when you look at it holistically and you look at it as a whole, does he love me as much as I love him? Damn fucking straight. Do we put in as much effort into our relationship, into building it and growing it? 100%. And that's, to me, where that 50-50 comes into. Yeah. It's just not so specific of what people kind of like.
I don't even know why there's a number tied to it.
Yeah.
It does make me a little uncomfortable if we talk about, like, okay, you're giving 70, I'm giving 30. And I think the number makes no difference, because I asked this to Hannah the other day, and I love your perspective.
I have no idea.
Not that it's an excuse, but it's like, okay, so I'm running first rounds on me, and this was my dream, and like I put a lot of hours into it.
All the energy.
Right? A lot. And I said to her the other night, I said, okay, we're starting a family. What if I worked from 9 to 5 at a deli, and then from 5 to midnight as an Uber driver, and I was just making enough for us to get by? You'd think that, man, this guy's sacrificing for the family to just, work all day for us to eat food. And I was like, I think it's viewed a little differently, that because I'm working on my dream and I'm putting all these hours in, that it's kind of
not as noble.
Not as noble. Yeah. And it's like, all I'm doing at this stage, right? When I first started, it was more like, this is my dream. Now it's like, I want to work so hard and I want to work so long to make sure I don't mess this up so that my family's taken care of. And I think because the job is prettier, it's not as noble as someone working construction for 15 hours,
I guess it depends on who's the person who feels that way. It's perspective at that point.
And that's what I'm saying about 70-30, because I think sometimes we're like, okay, we're focusing on your job and your dream, and I'm going to give 70 into our lives because the rest of you is focused on the app. And it's like, yeah, but 110% of me is focused on our family, which the numbers don't matter. It's just, I'm working hard to make it work.
Yeah, and I think that matters too. Like, everybody's good at different things. You know what I mean? Like, I might be really good. I'm really good with money. I handle money very well. So almost in every scenario, I'm expecting to make money decisions because I have the most emotional intelligence when it comes to money. Like, we're not spending money on this. We need to allocate this to the side. You know what I mean? And so that might not be my partner's thing. They might be like, no, let's spend the money. You know what I mean? So that's like, I'm almost going 100% on that. Or I might be like dictating to a degree, like giving the best financial literate advice on what we should be doing with the finances. You know what I mean? Versus she might come through and be way better with like administrative shit. You know what I mean? Like trying to get a passport, I hate that shit. I do. I hate that shit. Like, I hate everything that comes with it. Like, send this here, send this there, do this, do that. Like, something about it overwhelms me. You know what I mean? I would love for my partner to collaborate with me and be like, babe, this is how you do this. This is how you do that. I got you. Be patient. We gonna do this. When we get ready to go to work, I'm gonna send this off. You know what I mean? Like, that would make me feel very comforted. You know what I mean? So,
but to his point, that's exactly how
you do that for us.
That's what I'm saying. But that's how I think we've structured our life, and I think it's really good, particularly in the very unique position that we're in, of like running a company and doing all these kind of things, but constantly checking in with each other. But it's 50-50 in the sense of like the effort you put in, the effort I put in, we're both going for the common goal. Sometimes that needs to be adjusted slightly. Sometimes we need to have open, honest conversations about what's working, what's not. And in different seasons, for different reasons, things will work and things won't. But that's the beautiful thing about life and being in a secure partnership, where you can have those open, honest conversations and go, hey, listen, like, let's just touch base right now.
Yeah, I think from the start, I think you guys nailed it. Are you ride or die for your person?
Yeah, it's real simple.
You know what's funny? Being in a relationship, when you're single, you worry about two things. And well, I did. I worried about finding, maybe
Sex.
not a partner, but like finding somebody to hook up with, right? Like that was top priority.
That's life.
And
that's law.
Trying to make money. Like those were the only two things I really cared about. And when you take one of those away and you could put all your focus onto the other thing, it makes life so much easier. And I think when you're in the right relationship and you have that trust and love, half your life is taken care of. And I think we take that for granted when you're in a good relationship, because sometimes I think I don't have to worry about having sex. I don't have to worry about falling in love. I don't have to worry about my partner cheating with me. Like that part of my life is fixed.
That's invaluable. That's like, you can't even put a price on that.
Yeah, and I think like,
you can't put a price on that.
if you find a career where you never have to worry about money again, and you find a partner where you never have to worry about love again,
like, you won.
You're like the luckiest person in the world.
You beat the game.
You beat the game.
You beat the game 100. And that's why it makes so much sense to me when you tell me, like, obviously you were very attracted to her, but then like the beautiful aspects of womanhood was there too. Her just being a great person. Like, I don't think enough women really understand, like, yo, if you just, nothing will be better than a dope chick. The coolest thing the highest level you could ever be as a woman is being a dope chick. Just be a dope girl. Nothing's bigger than that. And I promise you, he could have a roster of like 50,000. As soon as he meets a girl who has the looks subjective, it doesn't even matter. He's attracted to you. It's all that matters. No matter where on the scale, you want it. You know what I mean? You're passing grade. C's get degrees, right?
Passing grade.
C's get degrees. And then you like showing like this honor, integrity, discipline, this energy about you, this charisma about you. You got it. You immediately graduated to the top 1%.
When we first started dating, I thought, oh, you're a model. You want to go to like all these nice restaurants and like all this shit. Yeah. She was like, hey, to be honest, I just want to sit and watch a movie with you. Like, that's perfect night to me. And I was like, man, that's pretty fucking cool. That
doesn't meet my societal expectations of you.
Yeah. And then the other thing was, she wanted to be a mom, and I was like, okay.
That's always, I'm telling you, hey, this shit is universal. It's universal. Yeah.
I think it speaks to all men, but I think there's something, like you said before, honor and loyalty and all these kind of things are wrapped up in those, because they're so grounding. They're so like at the very base level of what we want as human beings. Yes. And it's such a beautiful thing. Okay, we're going to completely switch gears now. Okay, so, because I feel like we could just talk about that subject in particular for like 3 hours. So I am very into dating theories at the moment. I think there's so many flying around, and one in which really caught my eye, which is actually popularized by Sex and the City back in the day. Okay. Have you ever heard of the taxi cab theory?
Oh, fuck. I heard this because I watch Sex and the City. My mom loves that show. So
Joe just started watching it. He loves it.
It's a good show.
It's a great show.
It is what it is.
I just like watching stuff that's in New York.
No, me too. Facts. No, facts though. Seriously. That's why, anyway.
You're like, I've been there. I've seen that.
Facts. Like, seriously.
Okay, well, I'll explain the premise of it and then we'll kind of dive into it. But the concept is, which basically suggests that men in particular, like taxis, only commit when their available light is switched on. Until then, no matter how incredible you are as a human being, they'll keep driving past. But once it's time to decide, once they've decided like that they're ready, the very next person that he dates gets the ring.
I totally disagree with that.
Me too.
I was about to say. So I actually just wrote an entire blog piece on this because I was like, this is fucking bullshit, right? Yeah. But I want to know from a male's perspective, first and foremost, your initial thoughts, and then we'll go into some like headings over it.
I think, once again, I think emotional intelligence is really key. I think men are at different points of growth in their life. Like, I think a 21-year-old could be wiser than a 37-year-old. It just depends, right? It just depends on conditioning, what you've been through, what you've learned. I think some men will see a brilliant woman and he will completely fumble the ball. And I think other men will see a brilliant woman and will drop the whole fucking roster. It's like, you're what I've been looking for this whole time. You know what I mean? And it's cold out here and I'm starving. You know what I mean? So this is the girl I want. But it's really like that though. It's like like when you single and you out here, it's cold out here. And it's like, yeah, you get lucky a couple times. You know what I mean? I'm looking at you because I know you. It's like you get lucky a couple times, but it's a lot of flops, bro. It's a lot of flops. It's a lot of I'm staying up late. You were supposed to come over. Now you're not coming. It's like, what the fuck? I got to be at work at 9 a.m. You know what I mean? Like, it's all type of shit that happen in this world. So, like, guys know. It's like, I could be doing my thing, but as soon as I meet my wife, you know what I mean? It's like, done with that.
100%. And to your point, Wolf, it doesn't matter what age you are. When I moved to New York, I was 26. And I was like, I'm going to be single and this is fun. But every single day, I was like, if I connect with a 10, like, facts. I'm dropping everything.
It's happening.
That's why you go out at night. Yeah. It's to meet that person. I mean, and when I say 10, I mean somebody who makes you feel...
Who's your own personal 10. Well, one of the bigger grievances I had with it personally, as I was kind of like diving through this theory and like ingesting all of this information, was first of all, it reduces men to like passive passengers in their own love lives. It basically alludes to the fact that men can't make decisions, and that all of a sudden... One day they like, it's like a taxi, like as inane as a taxi light. They throw it on, they're like, all right, sweet, whoever comes next I'll marry, which I think is really unfair to men in a lot of ways. Men are just as sometimes, if not more, emotionally intelligent and have that depth to them. And so the fact that you're just automatically assumed in that way really frustrated me.
Well, Sex and the City, now that I watch it, had the other age theory where it's like, when a man is 21 to 30, he has no power, right? Because he's trying to hook up with hot 20-year-olds. And then when a man's in his 30s, he has all the power because those 20-year-olds want to be with an older and mature guy, and the women that are older want a younger guy. So when you're in your 30s, men have all the power, and as you get older, that increases. And when you're in your 20s, men have no power. Women have all the power. Well, you know, I thought that was more...
That's very interesting. You don't have any power if you're... You don't really have any power if you're an average-looking man. If you're an average-looking guy, then you don't really have that power. But if you're a beyond...
Or you're not wealthy or over 6'4".
That's 100%. And that... 100%. And that's what I mean, like... Yeah, exactly. Like, and I mean average-looking in the sense of, like... how from a dating perspective, you know what I mean? Like, not like how I feel, but like how society, like we are, this is the fucked up thing about America. Like, we all become very aware of our value just based off of what magazines and shows deem to be very valuable. And then you compare yourself to that. You know what I mean? It's like, well, shit, I'm about like 3 miles away from that. You know what I mean? Versus some people like a step away from it. You know what I mean? So I think in your 20s, when you're the average looking guy, now I set the table, you get what I mean, then yeah, you don't really have any power. But you definitely got the power when you're 30 though. And in your 30s, because like you said, and then it's like when you're 30, hopefully if you live your life the right way, you are more emotionally intelligent, and you do have this wisdom and this experience that now is very attractive to a woman who's somewhere in her 20s, you know? And now you can put her on game and introduce her to a couple things, and that she loves that. And to be honest, I think it might need to be like that in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if she's really gonna... I don't know if most girls are gonna respect you if you're on their grade level. I mean, on their age level. You might need to be a little older so you can be aware of the type of games that they run on other people.
That's honestly true. Joe's the only person I've ever dated who was my exact age.
Because we met in our 30s.
Because we met in our 30s. Literally right on, bang on 30. Actually, I was 29.
And I always tell her, if she was older than me, I wouldn't have dated her.
You wouldn't have dated her?
She was a month older than me.
Because I'm already almost taller than he is. So he's like...
Real quick, I want to make sure your angle is...
Go for it, darling.
Yeah, I just want to double check and make sure.
Ever professional. I'm going to leave this in. Joey, leave it in.
Wolf's doing 2 jobs right now.
Wolf, is it normal that sometimes it jumps?
What?
The screen? Like, it jumps, like, for a second and go back?
Oh, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's actually good. Okay. All right.
I gotta do my eyebrows more often, hey?
All right.
Yeah, I find that entire theory incredibly fascinating, and again, I could go on for hours and hours, but it's like I think it is a disservice to men. It's a disservice to women because it basically means that we're just waiting around for men to turn their light on. Like, there's so many things that are wrong with it, but also you see so many of these theories popping up, but you kind of, as you always do, lead me amazingly into this next section, because there's this real debate within, I think, just like society in general, but particularly when it comes to dating, of like high value women and high value men. And I know that some of it obviously is societal, some of it is personal preference, but I think that maybe from both of your perspectives, like, who qualifies? as a high quality person? And at the same time, is it almost just another way for us to be able to create these checklists, these arbitrary checklists for people?
I know what I think a high quality person is.
Yeah, you go for it.
Because this is how at this stage of my life, this is how I kind of see it, even from a business standpoint, the way you handle yourself. So the way that somebody handles themselves, I immediately
That's a very vague answer. Like, what do you mean handles themselves?
I get what you're saying, though.
Like, if I'm doing business with somebody, because obviously I'm not dating anymore. And
better not be.
And you carry yourself with a certain, like, stoic approach and a little, like, a certain confidence and a certain elegance. And I don't mean elegance in, like, your appearance. I mean...
Yeah.
The
your
way,
action.
Literally the way that you handle yourself. The way that you want the outside world to see you. Right? And that's kind of... I kind of attest this back to me. Whenever I'm talking to somebody, I don't want to be too angry. I don't want to be too frustrated. I don't want to be too sad. It's like, I kind of just want to be even keel and be calm.
Emotional intelligence.
And that's what I think a high value person... And this is my opinion. That's what I think a high value person is. Like... They're calm. I respect that.
Yeah.
They can kind of control the way the world sees them.
I think that is definitely a huge trait of a high value person. I think, listen, let's just cut the bullshit and let's just get to the shit that works. No matter what era we've ever been in, no matter what part of the country, no matter what city you live in, honor, integrity, discipline, emotional intelligence, giving, selflessness, compassionate, charismatic, hardworking. These things, no matter what you got between your legs, these things is what make you high value. And focusing your energy on anything outside of that, you're running the race backwards. And that's why people, shout out to Carrie Bradshaw, but that's why that's where you get stupid shit like the taxi and stuff like that. It's like, what are we talking about? Like, honor, integrity, values, family, love, you know what I mean? These things are the things that go the distance and will always go the distance. It's the difference between I met them at 27 and now we're 57 and we still rocking because they just got better at those things. You know what I mean? Like, too many times, and especially like, man, me working at this podcast studio, I done heard it all.
I'm sure.
I done heard it all. I've heard it all, bro. And it's like, oh my God, in this dating space, oh my God, it's about everything but what matters. It's about everything but what matters when it comes to finding love. You know what I mean? Honor, integrity, discipline, morality, connection to God, therapy. You know what I mean? Working out, like core foundational things that will allow you to stand the test of time. You know what I mean? If that is not your priority, the looks, whatever else, it's like, yo, listen, a guy will go down on looks for a woman who's very virtuous. He will go down on looks.
Also, he'll bump that down a little bit, just as long as they have all of those incredible core values.
Yes, and obviously you have to be attracted to your person. But too many times, as an engineer, I've heard all the relationship gurus. I've heard all the girls. I've heard it all. I've heard it all, and the emphasis is absolutely on shallow things that lack depth. You know what I mean? It's like, no wonder you're spinning and spinning and spinning because you're not doing anything that's going to attract the person that you claim you actually want. You claim you want the person that's like traditional values and the man that's like this and the man like that. It's like, but when he sees you, like, is he going to see what he's looking for though? Is he going to see that though? You know what I mean? Because great people look for great things. It's just that simple. You know what I mean? And
damn straight.
And I know you know this, but it's like, man, it's a lot of beautiful women out there. They beautiful. But then eventually you realize, you know what I mean? It's like, fuck, like she fine, body crazy, everything. But is she going to be a great mother though? You know what I mean? When we get into an argument, is she going to try to manipulate me or is she going to try to hurt me because she has a lack of emotional intelligence? Like when we have children, is my intuition and my foresight giving me a little inclination that she might try to use the kids to hurt me when things, you know what I mean? It's like, these are the things that we're looking for, you know? And it's like, you only show that by showing that, like, I'm so interested in my self-development as an individual. I have no choice but to be great for you.
The word that you used is my favorite quality in people is integrity. And I bring it up all the time because very few people have integrity.
Come on.
Very few. And I'm even thinking, like, say you're on a date with somebody and she gets a call and, like, say it's your first date and Bobby pops up right?
Shout out to Bobby.
And you're like, you tell the girl, you're like, hey, who's Bobby? And she goes, you know what, Joe? Obviously, I'm single. I was supposed to have a date with Bobby tonight because I know how this was going to go. And I don't want to be rude. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to answer it and tell him I'm on a date with somebody else. And like, because this is going really well. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, man.
It speaks volumes.
You have so much integrity because you're explaining to me the situation. I don't have to jump to conclusions. But you have integrity for this person who's calling you. And you're not just going to be like, well, no, I'm not going to answer because I'm on a date with somebody else. Mm-hmm. That to me is like, oh, you're a high quality person. Mm-hmm.
And there's care and there's compassion and there's loyalty to humanity and all wrapped up in that. And I think I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and it's confidence of this person telling me like, hey, I'm being 100% honest with you and I'm having my own integrity. And if you don't like that, then you don't want to be.
That's a different story. Yeah.
Yeah. And it also too, even when you're married, you talk about like there's so many beautiful women, right? I live in Los Angeles, I live in New York, so many. And I go to Equinox, right? So from time to time, you'll see a pretty woman.
And he loves women in workout clothes. I just want to caveat that. That's like really one of his like kinks. He really fucking loves it.
Even little things with my own integrity. I'm like, okay, if I was single, I would obviously look at that person. Just look.
Yeah, just look.
But I'm married. And if my wife saw an attractive man and she was looking at him and like, double taking.
I wouldn't like that.
I wouldn't like that. So I have to have integrity. And yes, I know that person's there.
Of course.
But I'm not even going to look because I have integrity.
Right.
And that also comes back to like treating people.
Joe. Come on, man.
You're a good man, darling. Yeah. It also goes back to like treating, like walking in your life, and integrity comes back to like doing the same thing in the same rooms, right? Like, the same thing in different rooms. Yeah. We talked about this at the very beginning of the podcast of like, as long as you have that integrity of knowing that wherever you speak, whatever you do, you would do in front of anybody.
Come on.
And I think that that's such a beautiful thing. Do you think that like social media and even dating apps have kind of created even more of a false perception of what a high value person is? You were just talking about like the amount of podcasts that you listen to and this hyperbole that's going out. Do you think it perpetuates it?
I think it highlights, when people say, when you get money, you're going to be more of what you are. I think social media gives us so much that you're going to find what you want to find. I love social media because I look at people like Jay Shetty. I look at people who speak about being virtuous and speak about, humanity. So I love it because I want to be more like them.
Absolutely.
And I think you're going to get what you want to find. If you want to look at reality housewives all night and drama, you'll get it.
Yeah.
And it's going to make you be like, talk about bullshit.
What do you think, Wolf?
Repeat the question one more time.
I will indeed.
Love what you said though, because I agree with that. 100%.
Do you think social media or perhaps even dating apps creates a false perception of what makes somebody high value?
I think it does. I think there's a saying, hurt people hurt people. I think there is no checks and balance when it comes to the internet. It's like people of varying degrees of emotional intelligence and just accountability, all in the same room having a conversation together. And I think that's where the confusion comes from a lot of the time. I think a lot of people may know a little bit more than the average person, but not quite enough. And even further, some of their views are absolutely not productive to having a beautiful conversation. And their relationship coaches or their gurus, they have big followings. Bro, as soon as somebody see you got a couple thousand followers, they validate you. Off rip. You know what I mean? So
it creates that almost like self-prophecy of you were saying it earlier before, like some people think that they're a lot more attractive than they are, not just like physically, but like what they actually bring to the table. So I agree with you. I think it can, not always, but it can really perpetuate somebody's own like ego. And then that in turn creates unrealistic expectations of what they have in partners or what they think that they expect in life. It moves so far away from the kindness, the loyalty, the emotional intelligence into these almost like superficial realms that get very, very difficult to deal with because you're so skewed from what actually means something.
Yeah, I think like my mom says all the time, God is simple, right? The more complicated the situation is, it's further away from God. And I think dating it can be very complicated, but at the same time, I think the more complicated it is, maybe that's more of a sign of like, maybe this is not your fit. You know what I mean? Maybe this is not for you. And so when it comes to listening to gurus and social media people, I think social media is an echo chamber of a lot of bullshit at times. And then at times, like you said, Jay Shetty's the man. You know what I mean? That's a good voice, good guy to listen to. So there are moments when it could be a really great thing. I'm a fan of him as well. But social media can definitely contribute to it. And I think a lot of it is just hurting people, the blind leading the blind. Somebody could give you advice, and especially when you're hurting, you've been cheated on, or you're really hurt, and they're speaking to that pain, they're validating that pain, and now you're just like all the way bought into and just downloading these messages, and you don't even understand that like you can't trust all the information coming from a damaged person. Like a clock is right twice a day when it's broken, right? Sure, you know what I mean? So some of the things they're gonna say might be useful or applicable to your life, but at the same time, like this person's hurt, and you're just taking everything they say, not understanding that 2 years from now they're gonna heal and look back and be like, fuck.
Wish I hadn't put that out into the
If they even do that.
If they even do that. That's the hard thing, because some people do not heal.
And I think that's the problem with society. When you talk about, you know, a lot of people live in the bubble, and I think that's a real thing. And I think some people have to, by where they're at in life, but I also think it's not having control of your own brain. And I think social media heightens that, where to your point, you could follow these people, but are you objective enough to realize, okay, let me take this with a grain of salt, and kind of dictate what you want to see on social media? And if you could dictate what you want from the world, and if you could dictate what you want from social media, it can be fun and easy and profitable and rewarding. But if you fall prey to the bucket of life, or if you fall prey to the bucket of social media, you're just going to go down a rabbit hole that's going to be tough to get out of.
Easily. Also, the last thing I want to add on that too, a lot of us don't have the privilege to have trusted family members to talk about these things with too. So you might, like, your mom or your dad might be like, don't date until they say you're like much younger or something, like don't date until you graduate high school or something like that. But obviously you are. So then it's like, well, I can't talk to the most trusted people because they don't condone that in my house. So now I'm going to go listen to Joe Schmo and Carrie Bradshaw, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go listen to them, because it's like, well, they're the only people that I can almost have this, what do they call it when you don't really have a relationship with them on the internet?
Passive? No.
It's something with a P. The people know what I'm talking about. The people
I was supposed to say, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I completely understand what you're saying.
But that happens a lot. So people just need to be mindful and be careful, and just, I'm gonna tell you what my mom always tell me: pray about it. Just pray about it. You know what I mean? Like I'll take God's clarification over any person's. So if you need real clarity on it, take it up with God first, and then even ask God to order your footsteps to the right person. There's some great people on the internet.
Oh yeah,
there's some great people.
Well, I think it's a double-edged sword, right? And to both of your points, kind of like what you're looking for, what you want to ingest, what type of mindset you're in, how hurt you are, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
I want to play some games. I feel like there's so many things we could talk about, and I am already putting on record now there's going to be a part 2 in the very near future.
I love that.
But I want to play a couple of games because I think that it's just a fun way to end the podcast. Okay. So you are, based on this conversation, based on all the research that I've done for you, you're just like a well of depth and emotional intelligence, and you speak in analogies, and I fucking love it.
Yeah.
So I came up with a new game I like to call What Would Wolf Do?
Oh, shit.
And so I'm going to throw you into some of the most confounding, cringeworthy, perhaps crazy date scenarios, and you have to tell me, how would you handle it?
Oh, shit.
Because you're like a very compassionate man, but like everybody has their fucking limit, all right? Halfway through dinner, she leans in and says, I feel like I can really trust you, then proceeds to slide a flash drive across the table and says, if anything happens to me tonight, give this to the police.
I'm doing it.
You doing it?
Hell yeah. I'm doing it.
Integrity right there.
I'm just doing it off
What world do you live in? When does that happen?
I'm sure stranger things have happened, and stranger things are about to happen, okay?
I'm doing it. I believe you. I believe you.
I feel like I've got this, don't worry. Within 20 minutes of the date, she's already crying into her cocktail about how her ex never truly appreciated her. Ooh. Before you can process this, she gets on her knees in the middle of the restaurant and begs you not to ghost her. How do you handle that situation?
Yo. So she oh shit. So she crying about her man. And then she on her knees.
And she's like, please
at the restaurant.
Please don't ghost people.
A New York City restaurant.
A New York City restaurant.
I'm gonna keep it a stack. Shit.
I told you they're cringeworthy. I told you they're confounding.
I'm gonna keep it a stack. Like, you're not gonna see me again, but I tell you what, like, for this night, I'm gonna hold you. We gonna talk. We gonna get some drinks, and we gonna ride. Tell me. Let's talk about it. Like, what happened? You know what I mean? Like, what's the tea? You know what I mean? What happened? And after that, I'm gonna let her know in the most PC way humanly possible. It's like, may peace be upon you. You know what I mean? I want nothing but the best for you. You know what I mean? I would love to be friends. Like, keep me updated. You know what I mean? I'm gonna slide out some type of way, but that's the last day you're gonna see.
This happened to me.
Really?
See, I feel like the last question.
So everybody always says, like, what's your worst date story? And I have one that stands out, and it's very close to that.
Yeah, my worst day story is the girl's husband showed up. Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so angry.
Was it fighting worthy?
Nah, so she seen him before I did. My back was faced to him, and I was just looking at her. Then, like, the way her eyes lit up, though, I was just like, and I turned around. Obviously, I don't know who to do this, but she was like, we gotta go. We had already paid and everything, and we were still lingering, whatever. She was like, we gotta go. And we slid out through like a literal side door, like, because the dude came in through the front, slid out through a side door, and then we was in the car, and then she was telling me everything that she wasn't telling me at the
married?
Huh?
Did you know that she was?
Nah.
What the fuck?
But that's happened to me a couple, not like the husband showing up on the date, but that's happened to me a couple times where like I'm vibing, and then like shorty kind of like, what they call it, like a Freudian slip or some shit like that, and she'd be like, oh, my husband. It's like, okay.
Oh my God, I could never imagine that. That's fucking wild, especially the husband walking in.
Yeah, I'm so glad I didn't die that day.
I'm really happy you didn't either.
You know what I'm saying?
For a multitude of different reasons.
Yeah, multitude of reasons.
All right, we'll do a couple more of these and then we'll move into the next theme because I know that we don't have much time.
Okay.
So you met someone for dinner on a first date. All of a sudden she holds your foot, takes your shoe off and runs away with it. What do you do?
Where do you come up with these?
She holds my foot.
She you're like on at dinner and then like afterwards you're kind of like walking around and all of a sudden she like grabs your foot, she steals your shoe and she runs off with it. What do you do?
Do you like her?
Yeah, I might like her more.
I'm asking the question.
I might like her more.
You find it endearing?
You know what I mean? If I'm on a date with her, obviously she's attractive. I'm attracted to her. I might like her a little bit more. You know what I mean? It's different.
Yeah, like if you do that to me on our first date, I'd be like, oh, she's fun. Like,
yeah, she's like, you're a little bugged out, but I like it though. You know what I mean?
See, you say like, where do they come up with this? These types of things are fun. They're fun to think about because what would you do in that situation?
Dope girl
Did you come up with that?
I came up with all of these.
Man, what goes on in your brain?
Wouldn't you like to know, darling?
Oh my God.
All right, 2 more for this and we'll play the next game. Okay. Everything seems normal until you notice a blinking red light behind the salt shaker. When you ask what it is, she's like, oh, don't worry, I always record my first date so I can analyze how they went. What would Wolf do?
I'm at her house?
Nah, I think you're out.
I'm out?
Yeah,
you said about a salt shaker, though.
Yeah, but like salt shakers are out. Are they not?
So she just took it, put it behind the salt
shaker? Yeah.
Kind of like, super, as you were in the bathroom, she was like, all right.
Right.
But she basically says, I always record my first date so I can analyze how they went.
The salt shaker is on the table.
I assume so. Yeah, she's not holding it up.
Yeah, listen, I get it. As a woman, I get protecting yourself. I don't know what type of trauma you coming with, so it's like I get it. Fuck, it's weird though. But I get it though. But it's weird though. And then because a lot of I work at a podcast studio. I hear all the stories. Some girls like record their dates and then they post it on TikTok or they document it and then they go into deep depth about it on TikTok.
But they don't tell the other person that they're filming?
No, like either
that's fucked up.
Yeah, so either they'll film it or they'll just like really like, or they'll record it like audio wise, or they'll just like talk about the whole thing, right? And it's like, because the guys have little to no consequences. It's like, it's for content. That happens. There's a couple girls, people in the dating space, well, you got to watch these motherfuckers. Yeah, so that's a little weird. But I'll tell you what, I understand. If you're trying to protect yourself, I don't know what you've been through. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, but.
Such a sweet answer.
I mean, I'll be trying to be mindful. That's kind of my problem.
Best behavior. And I'd be like, you're going to get the perfect answer for every question.
I was going, I'm not, hell no. I'm going to be exactly who I was. And like, just don't post that shit on the internet without
I would be like, you're getting nothing out of me and you're going to show all your friends and you're going to be like, man, he is the best guy ever.
That's all you was going to think anyway.
And I would never see her again.
Never see you again.
I was going to say, there would be like a hard no for a second date.
Oh, for me,
yeah. That's kind of nuts.
All right, last one. The next day, you wake up to a Venmo request for $50 with a note that says, for my time and emotional energy, mind you, you paid for the date.
Never in life. Ever.
Ever again.
Ever in life. I don't care how you look. I don't care how fine you are. I don't care how bad you are.
Yeah.
Some dudes would do that, though, when you're a fool. Where's my camera? You're a fool. Yeah, and you wonder why you're in the position that you're in. It's ridiculous.
Damn straight. All right, we're going to play one more game, and it is one of our favorite games around here. It's called How Well Do You Know Yourself? So I have gone to the depths of your social media and I have pulled 5 things or 5 questions and I want you to answer them.
Do I know myself?
I don't know.
Like,
do you?
Still, one person has gotten them all right.
Can you please?
One person?
One person.
One person.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, that's true
yes,
because Talia didn't get them all right. Anyway.
All right, let's do it.
In a clip posted in December of last year, you posed a question to Cassandra, a relationship coach and men's advocate. The question was, what is one question she thinks every woman should ask herself before deciding to marry somebody?
Fuck.
What was the answer?
Fuck. I made the clip, so
I know you did.
Damn. Is she ready to be a wife?
That's really fucking close.
That's close.
Do I want a husband or do I want to be a wife?
Okay.
That's a pass.
I was going to say I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Okay, thank you.
Now, you're not the judge. You asked the question. I'm
barely
the
got
judge.
underneath the
Joe's
limbo
the-
on that one. You know what I
I'm
mean?
the
Okay,
judge in
cool.
this.
Joe's the judge? All right, sweet.
Okay.
You did a 4-part series of things I want my people pleasers to think about. What were the 4 things?
I'm not even gonna try it. Don't even know.
No?
This content game is so relentless. I don't even get a chance to like enjoy my babies. Just like I drop one, it's time to do another one. It's a thankless job, man.
Do you want to know what you said?
Please tell me.
Stop saying yes when you really mean no.
Facts.
Stop apologizing when you didn't do anything wrong.
Bars.
Being assertive doesn't mean that you're mean.
You're doing good.
Validate yourself instead of waiting for validation from others.
Absolutely.
That was a good clip right there.
That's good.
I'll clip it.
That's good game right
Done.
there. Listen, hey, halfway up podcast, man. Go tap in, tune in. We're gonna get you right, man.
Well, speaking of things that you've said, you posted a video with a caption, "I'm a big fan of quotes." And the first thing that you quoted was yourself. What was the quote you quoted?
I don't know. I don't know. I quoted myself.
And it literally was like
when
your
was
quote.
this?
Your quote last year. Your
Last
quote.
year, man.
and it was.
You
And
can't
then
cheat.
No, I'm not cheating. I'm not cheating.
it was your quote, and then it said Wolf Taylor next to it, so it was like you. Do you want to know what it was? Oh, he's going back into his notes.
No, I'm not. Go ahead. Tell me what it was.
The point of a conversation is not to agree with each other, but to respect each other. You're just
Bars.
like loving exactly what you've said to yourself. I mean, I loved it.
So what I'm looking up, because I was talking to my coworker, and then I dropped 2 fire bars that I also added to my Wolf Taylor quotes. And if I can just share them real quick.
Please.
1, energy will take you places skill won't. That's a good one.
That's a really good one.
That's a good one. Second one, intention feels so much better than consistency. I'm just saying.
I know that he loves that
You
one.
like that one?
I know
I'm
that
just
he loves
saying.
it.
I came up with those are fresh.
We'll clip those quotes for our quotes. Because we do the quotes.
Wolf
We do
Taylor.
quotes.
We do quotes.
We do quotes.
Yeah.
So
All right, you got 2 more.
Okay, let's
pretty.
do it.
And whilst I love you, I hate to say it, you're not doing very well. In an
I'm trash. I don't know myself at all.
in an on the street interview in July 2023,
I know this one.
you were asked how much you'd spend on a first
I know
date.
this one,
What
yeah.
was your answer?
$300.
Max $300.
$300.
And I
What?
know this because this one went viral. It went viral, and somehow it got into the hands of another street interviewer. He was interviewing Terrell Owens, and then he asked him the same question. And I know that's my boy Angelo. Shout out to him. I know that question came from me because it's such a specific number. $300. I said the max I would spend on a date.
The max you would
And everyone
spend
was like,
The
oh.
max I would spend
on a
on
first
a date.
date.
The max on a first date I would spend is $300.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I thought you were saying that you would spend $300
Like every day?
flippantly on a first date. I'm
Absolutely
like,
not. This is New York City. This is absolutely not. However, though, yeah, I would spend up to
That's
$300.
fair.
Yeah, I think so too. But I was so surprised.
That's a nice dinner.
So many people was like, no. They was like, absolutely not. I would never do that. I'm like, do you do
That's
this?
a nice dinner
It's
in New York
simple
City.
math, bro. Especially
Yeah.
if we having a good night.
You get a bottle of wine.
Come on.
Like-
Uber you home. One
Yeah.
place might go to another one. You know what I mean?
That's
Come on. Be for
really
real.
reasonable.
Be for real. Be for real. People, you're exposing yourself by acting like that's crazy. You know what I mean? Come on.
I love this discourse. Last one. In August of 2024,
I already don't know
you
it.
made a post, the title of which was, "For the Men, this is how to make women feel safe."
Mm-hmm.
There are 7 points that you made. I will accept 3.
How to make women. Oh, that one. Oh, fuck, man. You gotta challenge. You gotta challenge misogyny when you see it. Is that one?
That is one.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
number
Okay.
4.
Okay. 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 Fuck. Fuck. You know, on the games where you get like a free phone call.
Yeah,
like,
we don't
you want to phone a friend?
We don't
phone a friend.
No, we don't do phone a friend on this game. I'm so sorry.
Challenge misogyny when you see it. Listen to women. Listen to women. Validate their stories.
Yes, that's number 3.
Okay.
So he needs 2 more.
He needs 1 more to pass.
One more.
I will accept 1 more as a passing grade.
And if he gets this, he passes overall because that would be 3 out of 5.
See, there you go.
Fuck, man.
This is big.
Fuck, man. It was an episode titled "Make Women Feel Safe Again." Bro, when I tell you it's not clicking for me right now.
It's hard though, because it's like, as you said, you push out so much of this beautiful content, and it's like, I think it's almost in a way kind of beautiful, the fact that you don't know all of these incredible things that you've said.
Is it? Let's go with that. Yeah,
okay.
Let's go with that.
All right. So do you want me to say them?
Yeah, go ahead. Fuck.
Offer support without expecting anything in return.
I said that.
Understanding protection and control are not the same
thing. Come on, facts.
Listen and validate women's stories. Challenge misogyny when you see it. Respect women's boundaries and personal space. Educate yourself on what's going on. And last, but certainly not least, support women's choices.
I said that?
You did say that. And
You're a smart man, Wolf.
I was like, Wolf, that's really sweet and really gorgeous.
It's kind of good, Wolf. It's kind of, I would listen to me.
See? That's what I'm saying. And as I said, like, we love and adore you, but you really don't know yourself very well,
I don't know myself at all. Yeah, I got some work to do.
I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to do this. I think
thank
after the years and years that we've known each other and we've sat across the computer from each other, it's just so amazing to have you on the couch. And like I said, I think there's definitely a part 2 coming up.
Yeah,
but
I hope so.
Can you let our listeners know where they can find you?
Yo, my name is Wolf Taylor. That's it. You can find me. I'm Wolf Taylor. I have the Halfway Up podcast. I call it Halfway Up because you're never finished rising. It's a self-development podcast. I talk about all types of important shit, like not being a people pleaser, how to make women feel safe again, extending your parents' grace, all just important things that you can apply to your life, things that we're all going through every single day. I would love your support. Leave a rating and review. Please support these people too. They're doing beautiful work. Trust me, if I didn't feel that way, I would not say it. First round's on me. The app, please download that. Use the app. Use the app. These guys are great. They're beautiful people. And that's it. Yeah, you can support me by supporting them.
Wow, we had the best intro and the best outro.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I don't even want to do my outro. I feel like
he did it for you, babe.
Thanks, Wolf.
Yeah, for sure. I can do my outro.
Yeah, do it.
Do your outro.
So yeah, this is another episode of Halfway Up, and I call it Halfway Up because you never finish rising. And the outro, the religion, the mantra, the spirit of the brand. Whenever I'm working, I will remember that done is better than perfect. And if I'm satisfied with my work, then that means that I'm living in my purpose. Yeah, that's the outro that I usually kick for mine. Amen,
darling. Amen.
Thank you, guys. This was tight, yo.
Bye.
Thanks, Wolf.
This is tight.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.